Welcome back. We're still here on Shagalinku, and like I told you when we started the show, the house is filled with a lot of guests, and we'll be doing so much today. My first guest that will be talking with me here today, we'll be looking at something very interesting. We're looking at youth and peace. You know, sometimes when there are chaos in the country or even nationwide or all over the world, you find that young people are the ones who, one, are affected, two are even the perpetrators, so to say, you know. And then back home here, even in Africa, within the African continent, you find that during elections, thuggery, ballot snatching and all that, young people have always been the driven force being used by politicians for all that. And that's why we decided to talk with our guest, who's been in the grassroots and forefront in the issues of peace, youth development, and all that. And that's why we decided to talk with him here on the program to proffer solutions on what he thinks young people can do vis-a-vis peace building and all that. It's my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome, should I call him Professor? Comrade Michael Femi Sodipo. I hope I got that name well.
Yes, you got it.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's good to have you after a very long while. And like I do on the program, I ask my guests to give a little background of themselves, what they do, so the viewers can also know what our guest is into before we even go on to talk about youth and peace.
Yeah, thank you, Ambassador Gabari. The name is Michael Femi Sodipo.
Doctor.
That's the name.
Okay.
And I work for the Peace Initiative Network.
Okay.
I'm the project coordinator for Peace Initiative Network.
Okay.
We are Peace NGO based in Kano here in Nigeria, and we'll be on ground for over a decade now.
Wow.
As you said. We'll be working with young people in the community, looking at the issue of young people, issue about peace, development, and what are the needs for young people to be engaged, to be fully engaged in society. So that's what we do in essence.
Okay, so you've heard it from my guest. I will start off the show by asking you, there's so much being expected from young people. Just like when we go out and women say they are marginalized, we also see that maybe youth, women and children are always marginalized. So much is expected from them because one, young people are either children to parents, young people are even in the workforce, young people are in school. So much is going on in school. You have depression, you have carryover, then you have unemployment, you have so many issues, drug addiction and all that. But what is even the specific role of a youth in the society?
Well, thank you. If we should maybe look at I would not want to just go into the definition of a youth, but let's look at who is a young person, who is a young people, and you find that these are very vulnerable people. Vulnerable in the sense that they are neither here nor there.
Yeah.
They are not babies nor adults.
Yeah.
So they are like in a crossroad. And that's why they have such a very, very key role to play as an agent of change, as someone who's also very at the receiving end of the society, because these are people that have not yet been fully at its full blown into who they should be, and that's the reason why they should be engaged, because young people are agent of change. They are agent of change. And we should not just see them as probably agent of destruction, as we've said, probably maybe in elections or thuggery.
And that's only when the politicians even remember them.
But they could also be used and also be seen as, even as victims, even in violence. Because why do we say they are victims in violence? Because most of them are not even perpetrators. They just find themselves and what do they do? So, and that's why what we do mainly is to see how we could help them to navigate such a very dangerous trend, and we do that by encouraging them to see themselves not even as leaders of tomorrow, as people say. We want to see them to see themselves as leaders of today, to take charge of their environment, to take charge of their lives, and to also see how they could also look inward to also help others, even in the society. And I will not say more that by saying that we cannot overemphasize the role of youth in development, because when we look back, even our founding fathers, I mean, in terms of Nigeria, even in the global system, we find that the young people they are there at the vanguard that also help in bringing that about change. So Nigeria could not be the same thing, could not be different from what's happening in global arena.
Yeah.
So there's need for meaningful engagement of young people. There's need for them to be positively engaged, as I've said.
Okay, before we even go for the next break that we have, let's even look at elections is around the corner, and so much is also going on now. Young people are even the ones now, maybe having the center stage and all that. What would be your advice vis-a-vis looking back at some of the issues that we've had, like the ballot snatching and all that? What can young people now sit back and say? We can say no to all this violence. We can say no to all this. Enough of this. We need to also be seen, like you said, as agent of change. And because, come to think of it, all of them can't be that bad, like you said. Some are even victims as well, And what would be your word for young people as election draws near?
Well, my word for the young people is to take charge, and to also not to wait for either for the elderly to give them the space. They have to create the space for themselves by also coming up with meaningful programs that could sell even themselves to the electorate, not to just look at probably I would like look at whether the rush for political whatever, but for them to look inward and to see what are the gaps they want to bridge, and what are the change they want to bring, which we know with young people dynamism, with the zeal and with the vigor they have, they have the strength, so they could harmonize all those quality to see how they could also be very, very engaging in the electoral process, not only just in Togri, but also participating fully in the electoral process, and by also being a good citizen of the country. And I think that's what we expect. We find that we have this issue of not too young to rule, to run, and they should not just sit back and say, well, we have to, it's our time. But they should know that, yes, they have a very serious task ahead to also, yes, because they may not have the, how will I put it, financial strength to muzzle next, but they could do the, how will I call it, the grassroots mobilization. And when we look at, find that even the youth, they are in large populations, so they could also that is
form a synergy
between areas with the number they have to also
and be a voice,
as a leverage to what they want to do.
Okay. Yeah. Well, all right, it's still on, and I have my guest here, Dr. Michael Femi Sodipo. We'll take a quick break now, go over to our youth